morning, Robins and Rabbits, and welcome to Tuesday's English. So yesterday you started learning a poem. Hopefully you've got that up today. If you haven't, pause the video and get the poem up. I would like you either to pause it and read it yourself, or I'm going to read it to you to start our lesson. So these old shoes. So these old shoes have scuffs and stains. They've trudged through snow and pelting rains. They've tramped their way to school each dawn, and now they're wrinkled, lined and worn. But these old shoes have danced with glee. They've clambered up our climbing tree. They may have cracks and fraying laces, but these old shoes have won at races. They're down at heel with thin insoles, but once these shoes were scoring goals. They've pushed at pedals, trod the street. They've tapped in time to music's beat. They've stood at bus stops for an age. They've stamped in puddles and with rage. And if I listened at all they've done, this poem would simply run and run. But though they once were bright and neat, and though they've soundly served my feet, they're battered now and much too tight, and so it's time to say goodnight. Let's lift the lid from the bin and gently, softly drop them in. So this was the poem that we introduced yesterday, and over the course of the next week or so, we're going to be looking at different features. So today, we'll all know what this is. We're going to be using adjectives to describe a pair of shoes. So in a second, or at the end of this video, you're going to go and find your favourite pair of shoes. There's an example on the board of a pair of shoes, and you can see that you don't need to record any of this down. You can just think about the different parts. So you've got the toe box, the outer sole, you've got the upper bit, the tongue here, the insole, the heel, the sole at the bottom. So you could just have a think about the different parts of your favourite pair of shoes. So I have brought in today my favourite pair of shoes. And Miss Garachi and Mrs Blake are in the room, and they're all laughing because I said these are my favourite ones that I usually wear if I go to a wedding. So these are my favourite shoes that I'm going to be thinking about today. I'm going to pop those down there. And to start with, we are going to have a go at trying to use our adjectives to describe them. So your first job at the end of the video will be trying to draw your shoes. And I'm definitely not going to be very good at doing this. I'm just not very good at drawing. Yours will be much better than mine. So you're just going to have a go at drawing your pair of shoes to start with. And then around, I know, they sort of look, you get the idea. I'm sure yours will be better at home. And then you're going to think about some adjectives to describe your shoes, okay? So straight away, what's standing out to me is that they are silver. So we've done so much work on adjectives, you should know what an adjective is now. So they're silver. Another word that stands out, ooh, they're quite glittery. So I'm going to have glittery. And the girls in our class always use this word, which I'm going to put on there as well. And I always tell them off for using it, but sparkly. And I only tell you off for using it because you use it all the time. So silver, glittery, sparkly. I think they're quite pretty, so I'm going to have pretty up there. They're also quite comfortable. And some of you will be thinking they cannot be comfortable because they're really high. But I was just saying to Miss Garachi that they're actually wide fit, so they're really comfy because they're really wide. So I can normally last all day in them. So we've got that one. Oh, let's have another one. I'm going to have elegant. So I would only wear them really to weddings. And they are a little bit. I'm going to take one from our poem that we're using. I'm going to have scuffed, because if you look carefully, especially on one of them, this one, they are a little bit scuffed around the back and the edges where I've been wearing them too much and probably dancing too much in them. I'm going to, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to aim for 10. I'm going to have dainty, because they're not like my usual boots that I would wear into school. I might have lovely.
High-heeled.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mrs Blake. High-heeled. That's a good word to describe them. They're high-heeled. Do I put a hyphen in here? Someone help me out. Yeah, high-heeled. Glamorous, let's have. And I think that's probably enough. So your job today, your first job, is going to be to take your favourite pair of shoes and see if you can come up with 10 adjectives to describe your favourite pair of shoes. And then I've put a challenge down at the bottom which says, can you use 3 adjectives in a power of 3 sentence? So we did lots of work on power of 3 sentences. So I'm going to scoop down here, so Mrs. Blake, you might want to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to have my, capital letter at the start of your sentence, favourite. Have a good look at that word favourite. I always think it's a really, really tricky word to write. So my favourite shoes, ooh, and shoes is a tricky word as well to write. My favourite shoes are, and I'm going to have high heel. This is where I'm going to choose my 3 things. High heel, that's 1 thing. Silver, 2 things. And, ooh, let's have dainty, with a full stop at the end. Some of you might be thinking I've forgotten to do something. So this is what we call a power of 3 sentence, because I've chosen 3 adjectives. So my favourite shoes are high-heeled, silver and dainty. And because we've got a list of 3 adjectives, we need to always remember a comma between these 2. We don't need a comma here because we have used the word and. So it's either a comma or and we always have and between the last ones. We've got our 3 things. My favourite shoes are high-heeled, silver and dainty. And if you wanted to, you could do a couple sentences like that. So today's objective then, to use adjectives to describe your shoes. We need a picture of your pair of shoes, adjectives all around, and either 1 or 2 power of 3 sentences, remembering your comma in the right place. Right, have a good day.